Policy and Procedures Committee. And last year we didn't have a training. But the people that worked on the committee jumped right in and we muddled right through and we got a lot of things done. So to all of you who are here, I welcome you. If you're here to learn about policies and procedures, that's wonderful. If you'd like to serve on the committee, you need to email me and we'll get you all fixed up. The goals for our training today is to understand the responsibilities of service to the committee and to acquire the knowledge necessary to address, process, write, delete, analyze, and write or rewrite policies and procedures to address the governance needs of NCRSP that are compatible with our other governance documents and usual ongoing procedures of NCRSP and those of NCAE, NEAR, and NEA. Do I have anyone wanting to ask a question about those goals? If you want to chime in, just do it. I need to punch okay. All right, let's go on. Let's first look at the responsibilities. Responsibilities of service to committee. As members of the NCRSP Policies and Procedures Committee, you are responsible to 1, read and know all current NCRSP policies and procedures. 2, review the policies for consistency with the practices of NCRSP. 3, review suggestions for changes in the policies made by NCRSP officers or other NCRSP members. 4, recommend changes or new policies that the committee deems appropriate after consultation with the affected committee chair or state officer. 5, prepare a rationale for each recommended change. And 6, attend all call meetings of the committee and complete the necessary work to the best of your ability. Now, those are heavy charges, folks. But if we are to carry forth into the future and meet the needs of our retirees of North Carolina, all across the state, not just in small sections, it is necessary that we accept these responsibilities and try to fulfill them. Does anyone have any questions or comments about these 6 responsibilities? Don't be so quiet, folks. Hey, Melanie, I see you popped on.
Yes, I just got home from the mountains.
Oh,
I literally just walked in the door.
well, that's good. I'm glad you decided the best thing to do was to sit down and get on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Did you hear the 6 responsibilities I had listed?
I don't believe I've seen that. I've been
All
driving
right.
for the past 3 hours.
All right, I'll do those 6 again. And since you've been on the committee and did a lot of work with us, if you have any additions to these or comments to these, I would appreciate it because I'm not the know-all person. The responsibilities. 1, read and know current NCRSP policies and procedures. 2, review the policies for consistency with the practices of NCRSP. Number 3, review suggestions for changes in the policies made by NCRSP officers or other NCRSP members. Number 4, recommend changes or new policies that the committee deems appropriate after consultation with the affected committee chair or state officer. Number 5, prepare a rationale for each recommended change. Number 6, attend all called meetings of the committee and complete the necessary work to the best of your ability. Any comments on that, Melanie? Or Teresa?
I think that
You
sounds
two are-
good.
Mhm.
You two are current members of the committee.
Mhm.
Now, Sandra, are those
dear.
listed in the current operational policies of NCRSP?
No, ma'am. They are the things that I have deemed as necessary because of being chair of this committee and
Okay.
having dealt with a lot of the work.
Okay.
But that is something that you will find out about as I go on through this training that'll make a better answer to your question.
Okay.
And
So
I
this will,
appreciate all questions.
right, because this will also be part of the the policy committee this upcoming year to update the operational policies that we already have, correct?
Correct. Plus, we have things we've got to add.
Correct. Okay.
All right.
Barbara Anderson has asked, is the policy on the website the same as the new policy? Also on the website, it
let
states.
me show you. Let me show you the policy page.
I have it here.
Here's the front page of the current policy on the website.
Mhm.
Okay.
And as it gets updated, the last update has been added to the policy and is currently available on the website. And as we make updates to the policy and procedures, they will be posted on the website after
Mhm.
they have been presented to the admin council and then moved forward to the executive board.
Right.
And once the executive board has questioned, debated, made amendments, and they've been approved, it's then sent forward to be added to the policy. The committee itself, you have to understand, is not the final word on what is done with policies.
Mhm.
Any changes can be made by admin council and the executive board of what we might present. The final decision actually rests with the executive board. Any other questions? I don't know whether David has made it up. Yeah, he has. Hey, David. Unmute yourself and say hello. Ingrid, I see you.
Hello.
Judy Banks. Hey, David. You're looking good there, honey.
Uh,
Marilyn. Oh, don't you give me that down and out. Cynthia, I see you. Nell, you're here. Gosh, a whole lot of people. Von Hart. Well, bless your heart. Hadn't heard from you in forever. Unmute and say hello to everybody. Maybe she can't. That just makes my heart thump happy to know that so many are here. All right, now that I've gone over those responsibilities, the next part of our goals is the knowledge knowledge necessary to complete the task of the NCRSP Policies and Procedures Committee. First piece of knowledge you need to know is read the current NCRSP Constitution and the proposed changes, which are the amendments that's laying on the table right now, that are to be voted on at the 2027 NCRSP Constitutional Convention in Cary, the first part of March. It's when you read, you gain knowledge. And through that knowledge, you are able to make valid decisions about things that come before you in order to do your best work. The next piece of next item you need to read and digest is the current bylaws to the NCRSP Constitution. And I will tell you that they will probably receive some major changes this year because they were not the major focus last year of the Constitutional Committee, since we had to get our NCRSP Constitution in line, more in line with NCAE. Now, there's still some debates between NCAE and ourselves about what all needs to be in our Constitution and in our bylaws, but we're going to work all of that out, I promise you. Anybody understand how to find your own personal copy of the bylaws? It is posted under our governance documents on our website. Is that correct, Julia?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All of the most recent things are public, and the document is live and under your control too.
Yeah. Here's the face page of the current NCRSP Constitution, and it is in blue. Now, let me see if I can find my. I think the bylaws do not have a direct cover page to them. Is that correct?
All of them have a consistent cover page with parallel designs.
I don't think I have one that has a cover page to it, but anyway.
Barbara has in the chat that it's green, so it is on that site. It's one of the four documents on the site.
And it's in green. Okay. When I did my own run of copy, I don't think it had a cover page at that time, so it's green when you look for it. Okay. Now where am I? That was the bylaw. All right. The next thing that you need to read is the current copy of the policies and procedures as they are on the website. And after that, you need to read the current NCAE Constitution and resolutions. Now, their bylaws, they don't have bylaws. NCAE has resolutions. And they visit their resolutions every other year at the NCAE convention and make changes, propose changes on the floor of the convention, but that's only every other year. The next task you need to do is read the newly revised NCAE policies when they become available. Now, they were changed at the last NCAE board meeting, which was last week, and I do not know how long it will take them to get those up and made available to people. They should be made available on their website, but I make no promises. But if you can't get them, email me, call me, text me, whatever, and I will try to bug them enough to get that available at least to me so that I can send them out to you. And when necessary, as part of the committee work, research the NEAR and NEA Constitution resolutions, policies, and procedures to seek guidance and clarity in our own policy writing. The thing to understand is that at no time are any of us to be in contradiction of each other. Because if we contradict something that's in NCAE policy, our policy, whatever policy that might be, is considered null and void, and they push their particular policy on us. And that might not be what works best for us. So it is imperative that we research and make sure that what we have does not contradict anything they have. We can go beyond what they have to fit ourselves, but we cannot contradict anything they have. Do I have any questions or comments about those 6 items? Well, that is what we are tasked to do, and now I want to go over what we face starting with the new membership year, starting July 1. Well, don't know that fits the membership year wording, but at least the work of our organization is July 1 to June 30th. Our work right now immediately tasked is the Policy and Procedures Committee will be, number 1, changing the word division that's throughout our current policies and procedures to the acronym NCRSP. Everywhere it is in the Policy and Procedures Manual. We have been given blanket permission by the executive board to do that. And we won't have to take that, every little piece of that, back to the executive board for approval, because they've already given us blanket approval on that. Number 2, the work that we face is defining the terms executive director and office manager with defined duties, responsibilities, and authority, and place them appropriately throughout the document. Now let me explain why we've got this. 2-3 years ago, we tried to, all we did was everywhere in many places, not everywhere, because I've found many places where this hadn't happened. We had only the term executive director in our policies and procedures manual. And we didn't have an executive director. We have an office manager right now. But we know that there's always that possibility that we will be able to go back to having an executive director. And because it takes time to change wording and stuff, at that time we decided to put a slash after executive director and put the term office manager. And in some places through the policies and procedures manual, that happened. But there's lots of places that there's only executive director still present. And so we brought forth to the executive board the request that we be allowed to just put that slash and the word office manager through the rest of the policy where executive director appeared. But the question arose because of personnel policy changes, I think, this year. People tend to make an assumption that executive director and office manager are on equal footing, and they are not. An executive director has the powers to hire and fire and make certain autonomous decisions about workings within the office on our behalf for the good of the organization. An office manager does not have that. And therefore, we have to define the terms executive director and office manager and figure out how to write that now in our policies so that there is absolutely no misinterpretation of duties. So that's one of the main things we've got to do this year, among many others. Do I have any questions about that? Hearing none, the third thing is we have to write an appeals and judicial policy to accompany the non-compliance policy that we have written into our policies and procedures. Somebody, don't let the cops raid you. We fail to come up with an appeals process when someone is not doing their duties for the office they hold. We have a removal policy and a procedure for that to happen. But it is necessary that we have an appeals policy too, because we're not a dictatorship. We're a democracy within our organization. And a person has a right to appeal and be heard. And so that is going to be a major undertaking because it has to match what NCAE has just finished themselves. Do I have any questions about that? The fourth thing that we will be doing this year is review the committee charters for completion and consistency throughout each portion. In my perusal of that portion of the policy just about 2 months ago, because we were setting up trainings for each of the committees, I found that there was a tremendous lack of consistency across the charges of the chairman, the charges of the committee itself, and their stated purpose for each of them. And it's in this area, Tama, that I think answers your question you had a while ago. This number 4, reviewing the committee portion of the policies and procedures manual called the committee charters. And that's where we will get into doing the other things. And now, folks, there are other items that will come toward the policies and procedures manual as the year develops. And they will fit in with these 4 responsibilities that we've got to deal with as they come up. We might have to stop and start and restart some work because of something that comes up that is a hot button item that needs to be dealt with. Something comes up we have no policy for, we have to develop a policy, which this past year, for your information, was the fact that we didn't have an investment policy written. And we needed to do that because we had to get funds moved from a dormant account that was earning just like pennies on the thousands of dollars to where it was earning us some investment income that we could continue building upon in case of needing rating day funds or whatever, or special projects even. And so one of the major new policies we developed this past year was an investment policy. And it states clearly what our focus is going to be on, what things we will invest in, who will handle that, how it will be handled, how it will be reported, and who can sign off on things. But we have, like the non-compliance policy has got to be completed with a judicial review portion. To me, that's a major undertaking that we will have to do this year. Do I have any questions, any comments, things that you all see we might want to undertake this year? I've done most of the talking. Is there something?
The policies that you've created, the investment policy, and the way that you've gone through the policy to make sure that there's fairness, there's accountability, there's honesty. I just love the things that you've produced. Thank you for doing that.
Well, we can't leave anything to chance, and that's why we have to have basic knowledge of all of our governing documents, and we have to understand our responsibility of ethics, honesty, clarity, transparency, so that all members can have complete faith and trust in us as leaders.
Amen, amen, amen. And on that page for the government documents, I put in the links to the NCRSP documents and all documents that I was able to find on there. So having all those things available, I think, will also help.
If I understood you correctly, Julia was talking about the availability of our documents compared to NCAE. Is that what you were talking about?
Maybe that was implied. But on hook or by crook, if a document has come our way, I'll try to make it available to our members so that they know as much as everybody should know. And I think that more and greater transparency on everyone's side would be a benefit, because as we know, democracy dies in darkness.
Absolutely. Anyone else got any comments or requests or questions? Or anything that you think you need for more clarity? This may not sound like much fun, but I try to have moments to laugh about stuff and everything, so.
Well, human nature being what it is has required governments and regulations, laws, and it's done a good job to try to keep everything fair and equitable and accountable to our members to make sure that our members' dues money spent correctly.
Anyone else got comments?
The question in the chat, she says, is judicial review under the appeals process? Will it be under the appeals process?
It will be. We have to make sure that it is in compliance with what NCA has just completed.
So Sandra, do you have a recommendation for people, which venue they should use? And use if they have questions or something they want the policy committee to address? You want to get it to the chair or to their region director or president or whom?
Well, they can direct it to me, and I will tell you my email address, and I'll do it slow enough that you can write it down.
It's in the chat. Tara put it in the
Is it in
chat.
Chair? Thank you, Tara. Or you can send it to Tama, or you can send it to your director, your local president, who can then forward it to your director. You've got numerous ways in which you can ask a question, make a suggestion. Another way you can direct work for the policy committee is to create a new business item at the convention. If you think there is no policy available and it is a necessary policy that needs to be created, a new business item at the state convention is another avenue for you. But all suggestions and requests are taken with complete seriousness and will be reviewed, and a response will be given to the person who makes that suggestion or group of people who make that suggestion. In fact, your local might come up with a question or a request, and that would be wonderful. And we would review it and see if it is a necessary item, which gives me the thought to tell you that when you make a request, be sure you got a rationale for your request, because that makes it very clear why you consider it necessary that we have such a policy as you may want.
Another question in the chat. Barbara wants to know, is there a target date of completion for the goals?
A target date for completion would be by June 30th of 2027. But let me give you a caveat to that. Knowing full well that some of the work may be very heavy that comes, and some work may come right close to the end of the year, and it has to be a carryover. So I can't say that everything will get finished. That would be wonderful, but not necessarily practical. Now, we have dealt with some immediate requests that have come up within a month or two of the end of the year and been very successful in getting the work completed and added to our policies. But that takes the complete cooperation of the committee and the president and the admin council and the board of directors. But we have all worked together very well this year and got a whole lot accomplished. Any other questions or comments? If you'd like to know who our current members of the committee are, I'll read them out to you, because nobody has turned me down about continuing their work. It's Sharon Lowry from Rutherford County, Betsy Wells, who is the Constitution and Bylaws Committee Chair from Cleveland County, Cindy Sellers from Alexander County, David Beaver from Davidson County. Isn't that correct, David? Okay. Alina Merle Chapman, who is our current vice president, but she has said she will continue on the committee when she terms off June 30th. Charlotte Turpin. Charlotte, what local are you with? Can somebody tell me
Sure that
what
she's
local?
on. I'm not sure that she's on.
I'm looking. She may not have been able to get on.
I'm thinking
I think,
Pamlico. Is it Pamlico?
yeah, I was thinking it was way out east. Pamlico might be correct. Thank you, Carol. Melanie Hudson, who is from Cabarrus County. Colleen is our scribe, and she's Forsyth. And Tama, who is our president-elect and will be president July 1. And Linda Gunter, who is our current president and will be our past president starting July 1. And anyone else who would like to join the committee, just send me an email or a text message, and we'll see if we can't find a spot. Now, we don't want to get so big that it becomes cumbersome to get work completed. So I may ask you to be a backup or something like that. But I appreciate all people who have come to join us to learn about the work of the Policy and Procedures Committee. And you have to understand the hierarchy of governance. The Constitution of NCRSP for our organization, our division of NCAE and NEA, our Constitution, top dog. Then the bylaws. And from the Constitution and bylaws, we can develop policies and procedures. And just because something has been a long-term practice, but it has never been written down, does not make it a enforceable policy. Always remember that. You must see that you have your local policies and procedures in writing, along with your constitution at the local level. Do I have any other questions? Any more questions in chat?
Yes, the question is, will there be a set day and time for monthly meetings?
No, I have not developed a set day or time for monthly meetings simply because many times things come up that I have to call a meeting 5 days in advance, or if I can accomplish it, and if it's a real emergency of something that has to be researched and dealt with, we have met within a few days. So at this time, no, I have not. Even in the policies, let me tell you that in the policies, committees used to be considered so lackadaisical that they talked about 1 or 2 meetings a year. Folks, this is a committee that can't meet just once or twice a year and do the work that has to be done that will move us forward into the future. And there are many other committees of our organization. And so that 1 to 2 times a year thing is something that the Policies and Procedures Committee itself will look at and be, I will be contacting the chairpersons of each of the other committees, standing committees that we have in our organization to make sure we have the number of meetings they want to hold and what is considered practical. And you could have monthly meetings now that we can do Zoom. It was not practical back in the day when you had to be in person. But we have to change with the times, and the times have benefited us. We've accomplished a lot simply because of technology. Any other questions?
Now the question, if we have to align with NCAE, how would a local have their own government documents?
As long as NCRSP locals governance documents align with the state NCRSP documents, they are okay. You cannot have an NCRSP local cannot have a constitution or policies and practices that are contrary to what the state NCRSP says is correct. Any other questions? You know, anybody, you all got voices, you can go off a mute and ask out loud. I love hearing people's voices. If we don't have any other questions and no one is confused, I don't like confusion, don't like chaos, unless we can resolve it and come out better in the end. I believe I will declare this training ended, and I certainly appreciate everybody's attendance.
Thank you, Sandra. And we're going to have the drawing